I was going to start by asking, has your mind been confiscated? But it would be more accurate to say, how badly has your mind been confiscated? Because everybody, no matter who they are, to some degree has had their mind confiscated from the time they were born. And it's not on purpose. Some of it is, sure. But much of the time, it's from people who love you and want the best for you. And they teach you what they were taught. Unfortunately, a lot of them haven't taken the time to really think about it and feel things out, not in the emotional, touchy-feely way, but by thinking about it and analyzing whether or not it's something that is important. A lot of that is because we're so rushed to do things. You got to make deadlines, when in life, there really are no deadlines. Human beings make up deadlines. Other animals don't walk around going, we got to do this by 5 o'clock today, or the boss is going to get down on me. You know what I mean? If we're the most intelligent, we're surely not acting like it. Now that I got that little intro out of the way, this video, I'm going to use 3 examples of Oz to show you, once again, the game of names and how it has always worked and how it will always work, including right now, including you and everyone and everything you've ever known. So let's get into the video. I'll start with Oz. First, the main characters of the story, and then the wizard himself. When you look at the characters of The Wizard of Oz, you have Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. Those are the main 4. The 3 side characters can be summed up as attributes of the main character. Scarecrow, the brain. Tin Man, the heart. And the Cowardly Lion is courage. By putting those all together, it's the heart-mind connection and having the ability to be brave enough to act on it when necessary. That's Tin Man, Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. Heart-mind connection and the bravery to act when needed. If we try to see this whole thing as one big body, Dorothy is being helped by her attributes of care, thought, and courage. In Dorothy Gale herself, she represents innocence and the adventurer going out into the unknown, trying to find herself. And even though we're dealing with a fictional character, the breakdown of the name still applies. It always does in every situation. Dorothy's last name, Gale, which is a large gust of wind, can represent a unique or different way of thinking. And then Dorothy can be translated as God's gift, God-given, or a gift from God. To make sense of that, if you've ever heard the saying, "Thy will be done, not my will be done," that's saying you're giving yourself over to a higher power, thy. And if you put Doro in front of it, D is a symbol of a door or a doorway which things come through. That's why I say Dia, ongoing reference, ongoing. So through an ongoing reference, ongoing is a gift. Thy, plus here vitally identified, is a representation of a higher power. So God's gift, or a gift from the higher power. And I'm saying that because L. Frank Baum was not a religious man. In fact, his books were more or less a window into his mind as he's trying to give another interpretation of the higher power. He was known as a person who believed in the spiritual world, but he was seen as an atheist and a heretic because he didn't go along with the familiar ideas that the people of his time had. And just look where it got him. His story still lives on today. And if only people knew what it symbolizes, it could possibly give them a whole new outlook on the way they see things. So that'll move us on to the wizard, our first Oz. And he's got a really long name, so I'm not going to break it all down. But if you take what I've taught and apply it, you'll see that it makes sense, along with the fact that most of those names have some kind of deeper meaning to them. The full name of the character Oz is Oscar Zoroaster Padraig Isaac Norman Henkel Emmanuel Ambrose Diggs. 9 names. And the initials of it would be Oz Pinhead, Ozpinhead. Just looking at the initials, ongoing from one side to the other, potential in head. Do you think all this is coincidence? I guarantee it's not. When I've shown that this happens with everyday people, people from history, people from the present time, and everyone that you've ever heard of. If you've seen any of my older videos and any of the other Game of Names, you might not want to admit that something deeper has always been going on Earth. But that does not mean that it isn't true, because it is. So when you look at Oz, ongoing from one side to the other. And when anyone goes to see Oz, they go there because they want him to give them something. On top of that, O is the symbol of a circle, the great circle of life. Z is 26. And when you add up G-O-D, they equal 26. It's 7, 15, and 4. I'll say it again. It's not a coincidence. And even though the man wasn't religious, he was raised in religion, and then he had his own mind, and he used that, which is something many more people need to do. But as they're doing that, hopefully they can take into consideration that it's not just all about them. It's about the whole. And if that day ever comes where they start using their mind in a deeper way and start taking more people and more things into consideration, as well as including more in their circle of compassion, they'll find out that they've been their own wizard all along. Now for our first living person, we have Dr. Mehmet Cengiz Oz. I haven't done any other birthdays in this one, so I'm not going to do any other birthdays. I'm just going to show you the names, and you'll see that all the other stuff does apply if you've watched the other videos. So Mehmet, M-E-H-M-E-T, manifest expressed here, manifest expressed plus, or to any. So if you have something manifest express here, you want to manifest the expression plus as if you know about it. And just the word met could be another form of med, or even the Met life insurance has to do with being a doctor. And if you know what the word meh means, it means not a good doctor. Mehmet. The middle name Cengiz is a form of the name Genghis, which means warlike. Genghis Khan. But if you have a concept, express, notion generated and grouped, identified from one side to the other, someone comes to him with a concept, expressing, notion generated, identified from one side to the other, and that ongoing thing from one side to the other. He tells them how to fix their problems. But then when you see what the names resonate with, of course he's warlike. Look who he's joining with. He's been a grifter his whole life. Sure, some people go through schooling, they learn stuff, they get the book smarts, but then they totally sell out. And if you can't see that this man is a 100% sellout, then you'll fall for just about anything. So for our last person on this video is Oz Pearlman. He goes by Oz. And I'm not in any way against any form of background, nationality, race, anything. But just because I'm not, doesn't mean that other people don't put all their effort into their own group. And right now in the world, we know what's going on with Israel. And of course, he's an Israeli-American who did a performance instead of a comedian at the White House Correspondent Dinner. As I've already said with the letters O-Z, since he goes by Oz instead of Oz, O is ongoing, Z is from one side to the other. And being a mentalist, when a certain person comes to him as an ongoing, from one side to the other, he reads minds. And his last name just happens to be Pearlman. And as I've said many times in scripture, man represents action of your mind. And when you've solidified something, or it's part of you deep in the center, just like some oysters and other sea creatures make pearls, it's the pearl of your mind, ongoing from one side to the other, Pearlman. Potential expressed active reference as it lies, manifest active notion. So if a person can have another person with them, and it's ongoing from one side to the other, from them to him, and he can tell their potential expressed active reference as it lies, manifesting an active notion. So he tells people to think of something and then lets them know what they're thinking. And that's what he is known for, because he's vibrating with his name. This is, always has been, and always will be how it works here. And when we start acting better, we will vibrate with better things. Right now, every person has the potential to be good, but they have to go beyond what the people around them are doing. They have to go beyond the things they've heard up to this point, and they really have to start thinking for themselves. I want to finish this video by saying a little something. In a 99% post-truth world, people need something that they can verify to be accurate. And unlike most of the things that are being talked about in the world currently, I can and do explain the things I'm saying. The way the events in the world play out aren't separate from the vibrational patterns. I show people what they are. Then, it's just that the overall mentality and level of care is so far corrupted that these are the vibrations people align with. Only the very few with real morals and a real sense of awareness are doing right in the world at this time in history. Many of them aren't doing quote-unquote bad completely on purpose. They were just taught bad habits. And unfortunately, sometimes that's a lot of bad habits, and those happen to be the ones that they proudly stand behind. Now is when we must metaphorically tear the house down. And by that, I mean that safe, home sweet home feeling that we all want to have in our minds of how the world works needs to go through a thorough reevaluation. So I'm going to leave this video at this. Until next time, I love you. Peace and God bless.